All right, guys, welcome back to the Family Farms podcast. We talk about all things precision rifle from gear matches and try to meet some really cool people in the industry. Full length episodes like this, I try to bring on really cool people and that are doing some exceptional things and pick their brains about how they're doing it. All I ask in return is if you find some value in the show, we make you laugh, share the show with a friend. And today we have two people that are really kicking ass in PRS and shaking some things up in Europe. And today we have Lawrence Barnes and Josh Martin. Welcome, you guys. Appreciate y'all coming on.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Give us a quick background on who y'all are for those that haven't got a chance to meet you yet.
Would you like to go first, Loz?
Well, you're team leader. You, you're rogue
Okay,
one.
I'll start the pack. Firstly, thank you for having us on, Mike. Really appreciate it. So, bit of background about me. For those of you who don't know me, I've been shooting PRS the last 4 years in the UK. Only the last 2 years I've started traveling internationally, trying to get a few more matches under my belt. I've been fairly successful in the last 4 years. I've always been up sort of towards the top of the pack, or if not at the top of the pack in the UK. And now last year, I've really started to dig in and take it a lot more seriously. I've been to two of the USA finale matches. The Italy finale match me and Loz went over to last year, so that was great to get across to another international match. And yeah, it's a very quickly trying to just explain what I'm trying to say. Once you're into it, you get your teeth into it, you quite quickly you get carried away and you just want to do better and better. And last year was when I really sunk my teeth into it and really gave it my all. And hopefully this year is going to do the same again.
Awesome. It's like getting the first bump of Coke for free and then you're hooked.
Yeah, I've been hooked for a while, but I didn't really take it as serious as I did last year. But now this year I'm good to go again.
Awesome. Lawrence?
Yeah, hi everyone. Lucky enough to meet Mike this year at the PRS finale at Twin Peaks, and he hooked us up with some phenomenal ammo, which I'm really grateful for still. Still swear it's better than I can produce myself, which is great when you're on another continent. And my competitive shooting, I've been shooting for about 16 or 17 years, mostly in sporting clays, as you guys would call it, or PTASC.
Or what?
FITASC, we call it, but
Okay.
just a bit of an American accent, and they're just trying, to tick off half the people listening already. And yeah, I shot that internationally for quite a while. Not always every year, but did try to do the World Championships, a World Championships or a European Championships every year, depending on what was around. Never actually shot in the US until the PRS finale, though. So that was a real experience. It was a fantastic eye-opener. But yeah, so sporting clays is my background. Sort of came to a head about 3 years ago, when it was really a crossroads between the business that I run. I've got my family company that I run now, and shooting was really another full-time job if I wanted to compete at the level that I was trying to compete at. And I just thought, I'm going to take a step back for a minute. It's taking too much out of me, which took a lot for me to admit that, really, because at the time, as it is with competition, you get blinkered, you just try harder and harder and harder until something breaks. And I think it was my passion that was breaking. And I went back to what I love most, which is, going out with a rifle, walking the fields and helping the local farmers keep on top of the vermin and things like that. Needed some ammunition, and had a quick look on a new shop that had popped up on Facebook, and it just so happened to be Josh's opening weekend for C2 Precision. And I thought, that looks cool. It's quite modern compared to gun shops. Like, most gun shops are full of old dusty tat, apart from the ones that support me, obviously. And so I thought, I'll pop down to C2 and have a look. And immediately got on with Josh, and he said, right, this was on a weekend. He said, this Wednesday, you're meeting me in Exeter, which is up the road from both of us. We're going to a little club match in the evening. And I was stammering, but all right then. took my Tika T3 boxing rifle in 223, and ended up finishing 2 points behind Josh in second place. So at that point, I was like, oh, I think I need to admit that I'm probably going to have another go at this.
Awesome. Yeah, John, I've noticed on like a lot of your videos that you do for C2, I wish my background looked as cool as yours did. Like, I mean,
Thanks,
I love the flag, but like the rest of the shop is just, it's plywood. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, so
I need to do more podcasts in the shop.
Yeah.
it looks really good. You did a good job with it. Okay, so the big topic for today's show is Lawrence and Josh have launched Team MPA Masterpiece Arms in the UK. So congratulations, that's freaking awesome. Tell us about the team, getting the team started. What's going on?
So, as well as my passion for shooting, there wasn't much in the way of decent gun shops around the southwest of England for powders, primers, precision rifles, optics. I was traveling 2 hours up the road, so I started C2 Precision, bit of a sideline, and it just grew and grew in the 2 years that I think I've had it 2.5 that year. It's about 2.5 years now, Loz. It's coming up. Actually, no, it's coming up 3 years because I've got my renewal in a few months' time. So coming up 3 years, it's just grown and grown. And I think that's mainly due to my passion in the sport and the industry, and how well I get on with everyone, how much I'm attending at matches, and I've just sort of grown and grown. And having that sort of respect from the community as well gets a good word around. I'd stopped a lot of the good brands, and Masterpiece Arms was one that has never really been in the UK much. There's never been a distributor for, well, there has been a distributor in the past, but they were a bit slow, didn't really do many orders, weren't pushing the marketing. And Phil from Masterpiece reached out to a few of his sponsored shooters, his team shooters, and my name came up. Next thing you know, I've got an email from Phil. Would you like to represent Masterpiece Arms and be the distributor in the UK? I was blown away, to be honest. I was like, wow, okay. No, I'm gonna have to start taking this a bit more seriously. I was overjoyed at the fact that he reached out, and I thought I cannot take up this. I cannot not take up this opportunity. So yeah, we struck it off straight away. Loads of calls, loads of videos. Started pushing MPA into the UK, and I've been getting them in for the last year now. Shipping is tricky at times, especially with a few embargoes happening. You can't send certain things to certain countries with the whole Russia thing going on. So that held a few things up, and also realizing how much you've got to up your shipping amount to pallets, because it just makes it more cost effective rather than doing boxes on UPS. Right. So we had to go down that transition of getting all that ironed out. A year down the line, we've done really well. Multiple chassis out to, well, I've lost count now, to be honest. I think we had 16 in the first shipment, and they were sold within a week. They were all gone, and Phil was really happy with it. I can't thank Phil and the team enough for choosing C2. And we've had a great relationship. I met him at the finale 2 years ago now. I was going to say last year, but it was only a few months ago, wasn't it? So 2022, I met Phil. We had a good chat, and after a few more video calls, we thought, well, he approached the subject and said, what's your thoughts on a team in the UK? And I thought about it for about 3 milliseconds and said, yeah, man, let's do it. With having the distribution of MPA, I was previously an XLR shooter. I have been for the last 3.5 years, 4 years, and I can't say a bad word about XLR. They've been great to me. But the natural progression of where I was going and where I wanted to drive the shop to, and once I actually first got the MPA chassis into the shop, Oh wow! Now I can see why people are running them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, well, I finished my time out with XLR, and I finished up the finale as I was quite tempted to pick it up before the finale for the end of year, but they've been good to me, so I was good to them and finished the year out, and then started afresh from January.
Okay.
Lawrence was a no-brainer, factory world champion. He needs a better rifle than an Accuracy International, and what better to stick him in a PMR2? Um, so that's how it's sort of progressed, really. Lawrence, do you want to say anything about the situation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't be more grateful to everybody who's involved. Obviously, Josh had a lot of in-depth chats with Phil early on. I'm really grateful that they thought I could be of value. I'm really excited to run essentially a factory-ready race rifle in that category. I think it's going to be very different this year. Very different. I mean, last year or the year before, sorry, because it's every 2 years. Distinct lack of American talent in the factory division. Obviously, there's plenty of American talent in the other divisions. So I'm not daft. I'm not going to sit here blowing smoke up my own arse and be like and say that it's not because of that. Obviously, I know there's a degree of luck, but you still got to turn up, haven't you? So as the video that me and Mike were chatting about the other day that Mike did with Greg Bell, I think he said it really well, and that a lot of people have noticed that the PMR Pro 2, now with the MPA Elite Action, the MPA barrel, the MPA Bix and Andy combined trigger effort, that really is, if you're talking about factory rifles, that is going to be the unstoppable force. And if people say that's not a factory rifle, I mean, all Phil did was look at the rules and produce exactly what was within the rules. So I think the only people who are going to pick holes in what he's done are the people who are left behind. And I'm really happy that's not going to be me.
Yeah.
So
I love. Okay, so and Josh, so you're shooting an open rifle with a MPA chassis, and Lawrence, you're shooting
Well,
okay.
At the minute I am. I've currently got a Zermatt Arms Zermatt TL3,
Okay.
and it's now sitting in a Matrix Pro.
Okay.
With being part of the team, I also wanted one of theirs to constantly take to shoots, take to shows, demonstrate what their factory rifle could do. So what better reason than having two of them on the line? I can run it in open. I can add all the weights that I want. I don't have to be in the factory IPRF sort of, because that's not what I compete in. I compete in open, so I can whack all the weights in the gun. I can do whatever I need to do to that gun, and there's no limitations. But it still is a off-the-shelf Masterpiece Arms rifle. So I wanted to demonstrate that as well.
Both?
So I've got two. Yeah.
Okay. And then Lawrence, you're running the factory rifle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The factory rifle.
Okay.
And we both got Matrix Pros for our rimfires as well.
Okay. So me and Greg talked about it a little bit, and I've had some conversations with customers about their factory rifles, and I think now is as good a time as opportunity to kind of actually explain like what the production rifles are, because it is I don't shoot production rifles or in the production class, but these rifles rival anything available in open, and I mean, I don't know what the exchange is for where y'all at, but they're $3,000. And I was actually doing some digging on uh on their website as well earlier this week, and the factory hunting rifle that they offer, have y'all taken a look at it?
I haven't actually seen the factory one. I've seen some of the other. Is it the ultralight?
Yeah, it's the ultralight. Dude, so you get a Masterpiece Arms barreled action and an ultralight chassis, and you can do it all the way. I think it's a 6 Creed is the lowest, and it's like 6.5 Creed, 6.5 PRC, 300 PRC, 300 Win Mag, and starts at like 7.5 pounds.
Wow.
And retails for $2,400.
How can you beat that?
I mean exactly. I mean it's honestly it's unbelievable that that quality can come at that price point, and not knocking any other manufacturer, but there are a lot of other manufacturers that produce rifles at a very, very similar price point or higher that don't hold a candle to what these offer. And so I think I from open competitors point of view, I think a lot of people just discount, oh, it's a factory rifle. I shoot open. I don't want to deal with this. And I think that's by and large the wrong attitude to have with where we've come with these things. And so, kind of, and sorry, I'm not trying to do all this. Like, y'all kind of walk me through like what is the production competition rifle like, and what's been your experience with it since you started using it?
I think just to touch on what you were saying there, Mike, actually, that's a really good point because a lot of people have looked at the factory division or production or whatever, and it's still exactly the same. They think, oh yeah, those guys are just taking part because they want they want a trophy when they can't get one in open, so they'll just go for something else. Like obviously, we've all seen the memes. Like it's and I laugh at them as well. Like, but I mean, I finished 4th overall in the UK series this year.
Yeah.
And I ran, although I did run my rifle with weights on for a couple of matches. The rest of all the matches I ran in factory setup. And I mean, I think I finished 3rd overall in the Hornady match. I can't remember if it was 3rd or 2nd, but I think it was 3rd. And that was with the rifle in completely factory setup. So that's no weights. This was an ATX, by the way, an Accuracy International ATX.
The same one you yeeted off the top of the bulldozer?
We've kept quiet about that.
Went there. He went there.
Oh my god! And I thought I liked you.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Continue.
I was listening out in the background for somebody to say yeet. Yeah, it did take a little. Went. Woo! I fancy the edge of the edge there, but yeah, I mean, it held up to that pretty well. So fair play to the battle rifle. You know, it did everything it should have done, and that's what it is. It's a competitive battle rifle. Like I won't say anything bad about AI.
Still, oh no, I love AI.
Rifle. Yeah, everybody's got a place in their heart for AI. But
if you don't, you haven't shot one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't think I'll ever sell that rifle. I mean, at the end of the day, I won a world title with it. I've no intention of selling it. I still love it. But if you said to me going into this season, would I rather have an AI or the PMR Pro in my hands? Like we said before, it's an absolute no-brainer. That elite action is. I mean, I actually thought that we didn't have the trigger connected properly because it's adjustable sear or engagement on that action. I thought Josh had set it up wrong when I came to the shop to pick it up because I pushed the bolt forward and it just went like I only had to breathe on it, and I was like, "Nah, that can't be right. Let's get it all apart and play with it." And I was like, "Oh my god, is that what things are supposed to be like?" There's no.
I think that's as well, Mike. You're going back to saying about the comparison to open to factory, but why do people disregard the fact that like this sort of quality factory rifle? And I had in my mind as well, until I was at this last year's just gone. Me and Lawrence both had a shot on Keith Rudersil's, and I was blown away with the quality of the action. And I instantly thought, I am not phased by running this whatsoever. And that was me comparing it to my TL3, which is like butter.
Right.
It's just silky out. I don't think you can get much of a better action. And then I go to this on Keith's, and I'm like, oh wow, okay. I thought there was going to be something that I wasn't 100% like happy with. There's nothing. There's literally nothing that I'm not impressed with.
Yeah, I definitely and I understand where this thought looking at production rifles. I mean, I used to be that because I was always I'm gonna shoot open so I can set everything up the exact way that I want. And at the time, there weren't options available like this. And so, but now I think one, you can shoot open if you want and have a grab and go rifle and compete with any other open setup that's out there. But then you can shoot factory and have an amazing rifle. And then the thing where I think it really shines is new guys getting into the sport. Because we all know, I mean, there's you get on Facebook or any of these forums or anything like, oh well, I want to do this, da, da, da. And then people like, oh well, an action's $1,400, and a barrel's $800, the chassis $1,500, your scope's $3,000, and everyone. Then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, I have to build a $8,000 to $10,000 rifle. I can't afford this. Now you have a $3,000 option that honestly is a mirror image of what everybody else is running anyways. So
yeah, very true.
What cartridges are y'all shooting out of y'all's?
Dasher.
Yeah, another benefit
both y'all?
of the PMI Pro. Obviously the options for caliber is like you can really have whatever you want. I think even 25
Creed
47's on there. I think.
I know 25 Creed is. I can't remember if 25 by 47 is. Josh, do you remember?
No, sorry, I can't remember the 47. But
okay.
Yeah, the 25 Creed is the 6 Creed, 6.5 Creed, BR, BRA, Dasher. It's everything.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Okay, and so walk us through the Matrix Pro, because I think the Matrix Pro chassis itself is pretty unique. I don't personally shoot one, but I think it is one of the more unique options available. So kind of tell like for y'all that have spent a lot of time with one, walk me through it.
Yeah. When I first got it, I was instantly blown away from me coming from the XLR with the ergo grip. When I went on to the Matrix Pro, I stuck the EVG grip on, and the Matrix Pro comes with the adjustable, the individual 3 positions on the thumb rest, and it also comes with the 3 positions to wrap your trigger finger for 90-degree trigger pull. I instantly had to play with a few of those, and I had an EVG, the Matrix Pro EVG grip as well. So I stuck that on for shits and giggles as well, and that just fitted perfectly for me. So I thought, I'm not going to bother with all the little bits. I'm just going to stick the EVG grip on. Stuck that on, stuck my barreled action in it. And this was back last October, I think it was, September, October.
Okay.
Stuck it in, I was just like, wow. Like it just felt like someone had just like taken a mold of my hand and just formed it on a rifle. And I was instantly blown away with how repetitive that was. And I went back to what I was currently using, and I was like, wow, there's so much more movement that like operator error you could do under time and under stress that you might not even think about. The Matrix Pro doesn't even give you that option. Your hand is there. If it's not there, you're not holding it right. Like it's going to be obvious you're not holding it right. For me as well, the adjustable bag rider at the back. I shot it at one comp in when did I use it? I think it was December. And the amount of times that I've trained with it in the field and shot a match in December, the adjustable bag rider, you don't think you're going to use it that much. And with shooting downhill or uphill, I've had so many occasions where I've been on the rifle down prone and I've picked the butt of my rifle up and gone bang in a sandbag just to try and get it lower to shoot up the hill a bit more. And there's been so many occasions since I've just pressed my button and just gone bloop. I was like, wow, that is a game. You won't, honestly, Loz, you're not going to realize how many times you're going to use that. I was blown away with how many times I instantly started using it because I knew it was there. The features of it as well, the adjustability that you can have with all the weights. I don't think there is another chassis on the market that gives you the amount of individual under barrel weights. I know at other companies, XLR, MDT, they've got 2 or 3 that you can put in, but these you have like, I think there's like 8 of them, 8 individual ones from Grey Ops, and then you've got the phase 2 or the secondary weight kit that goes under the barrel. You've got 3 of them, and then you've also got the options on the outside as well. So there isn't, I don't think there is another chassis on the market which gives you that many options to fine tune your balance point on a chassis. And also the weights on the side, for me, I've gone with the XL ones to give me a little bit more purchase on my thumb, and actually where the 2 XL weights meet, where they butt up, that's a perfect place for me to put my thumb. So it's an instant reference. My thumb goes in the little groove where the 2 weights meet, and that's a perfect reference point every time I go onto the bag. I was thinking about getting like a little thumb rest or something to put on the forend, but since I've been using it, my thumb just goes up on top of the weights, and that's just how I run it. It works perfectly. Loz, what's your feedback on it? You've recently had yours.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing with mine in my rimfire, to be honest, because my the dasher is with our gunsmith at the moment, GTAC Engineering Services, who's very local to me and has spun quite 4 barrels for me now, and I couldn't be happier with them.
You said it was GTAC Engineering Services?
Yeah, Alan Forster, GTAC Engineering Services. He pretty much kicked off. I don't know if he kicked off doing it actually, but it's what I heard about earliest. He did the AR-15 grip conversions for the ATs. Was it, Josh?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he does export quite a few of those. I think he used to sell them through Sniper's Hide to the US. But anyway, so he's my local gunsmith. So the full bore rifles with him at the moment getting spun up. But in the meantime, I've been playing with my Rimex, the Zermatt Rimex, in the Masterpiece Arms with the Phoenix barrel on it, and I've been really, really impressed. One of the key things is obviously I'm going to have to run it in factory, so I can't add weights. That's probably worth going through in a minute, the differences between factory and production, because obviously in the US, production is the dominant version of the two, being that it's a PRS division, not an IPRF division, whereas here factory is much more prominent, just because IPRF is a bit more of a thing in Europe, I guess, or was. Now that's all changing, and it's set to change even more, which is pretty exciting. But the rifle itself, straight out the box, like Josh said, the grip is fantastic. I mean, I'm built like a giraffe anyway. I'm 6'4", arms like an orangutan. Like, I'm a bit of a knuckle dragger, as you would say. And so I've got big hands, and I think nobody who's picked it up has said, "Oh, that feels nice." Like, nobody hasn't said that.
Right.
There's just so much adjustability in it. The cheek piece now with the new silicon cover is super easy to move, but it's super easy to find your jaw weld reference point. The butt pad adjustability, and actually the MPA mounts that I'm running now, I've been really impressed with them, how flexible they are. I mean, I've got, like, mine looks like some sort of space shuttle. Like, it's got, you know, the send it level, the Brandt,
the Brandt built
ocular mount, and the Hawk Hill Custom stoke card holder, and a Picatinny rail on the top, just in case I want to catch it. So, like, it literally it looks like I couldn't bolt much more on there. But it's all neat, tidy, and they've really thought about how people want to run their kit and how it's going to fit, not just when you're on a stage, but when you put it away in a bag, like things don't snag. It's not, data car, it's not just flapping everywhere all the way. It's really well tucked away. The fact for me as well, obviously I've got AI magazines as well as my AI CS mags, and the fact that with the Elite Action you can run AW mags if you wanted to, if you wanted a more compact mag footprint, would you call it, the size that you don't want it to hang out the bottom of the chassis very much, like those AW mags are great.
I love AW mags.
Yeah, I haven't had any with the dasher conversion yet. Obviously, I haven't got the rifle that's being spun up yet, but I'm looking forward to trying them. I think the mags that we've got are accurate mags with the dasher conversion, but I've heard nothing but good things about that as well. So yeah, it's very. I think also the colors. I wish we had them to hand to show you, because yeah, I mean we've picked some pretty special colors. Like
that's awesome. Yeah, the color. I love the colors, and I don't know who started it over here, but now the big thing is the custom anodizing.
Yeah,
And I see like at least one at every match, a Matrix Pro that looks like it, just metallic splatter down it, and it's they're cool.
Yeah,
they're really cool.
Really cool. I mean, we wanted to go for the anodizing, but obviously they're high demand, and unfortunately with the lead times, because we knew it would take us longer to get them shipped across here, and we had some goals about launching the team to do it before the first PRS UK match of the year, which is coming up on the 16th and 17th of February, because that's an MPA sponsored match in conjunction with C2 with Josh.
Nice.
So we wanted to make sure we had the kit here in time so people could see what we're talking about. There will be chassis on the prize table as well. Phil's very kindly helped out a lot with the prize table. So I'm sure I speak for Josh when I say we're super grateful for that. But yeah, there was a time constraint. So I've gone for the pastel Cerakote, like what the Rimfire's Tequila Sunrise, and the rifles Aztec Teal, sorry, the foldable rifle, which seems to be pretty unanimous. Like even anybody, like even women who aren't not saying women aren't into shooting, but the women that I have seen it who aren't into shooting, everybody says, "Oh my god, that looks great! Like, what is it?" That's a rifle.
How many women have seen your rifle in the week that you've had it?
I took it in the office. I was like excited. I was like, "Look at this!" They were like, "Oh my god, why is my boss wielding a firearm in the office?"
That just sounds like a good place to work.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what is the rest of y'all's rifle setup? Like what optic, what bipod? I guess that would be pretty much everything else.
So for me, I'm on I'll have the two. I'll have the PMR Pro 2. That one's gonna have a ZCO on it. My Zermatt Arms is also gonna have a ZCO. Bipod is a Skypod. That'll just swap between the two. Muzzle brake, I've got one of the TMB Strike Without Warnings, and on this one, on the PMR, I'm going to stick the DN5 on, and give that one a blast. I really want to give that a go. No one over here's had one yet, and no one shot one, so I really want to give that a go and see if that's as good as what they say it is. From the feedback I've heard, it's incredible.
Yeah, I have heard very good things. It's on my list to try. I have not done it yet, but I've heard they're very, very good. Lawrence, what scope are you running?
So I'm running Night Force at the moment, because the rifle's in factory. I'm running the Attacker, or ATAC R as you guys call it, the 7-35 with a Mil XT, and I absolutely love it. If I could be in love with a solid object, it is that scope. It's sublime. I've changed the turret. The elevation turret is chap down in New Zealand, custom scope turrets. He does a plain turret that's got small etched markings at the bottom for 1 to 11, I think it is, and then it doesn't cover the second revolution, which obviously you can still work out anyway from the other clicks. But the idea being the bulk of the turret is plain black, so I use Posca paint pens, which I think Morgan was using for when it's raining as well. I'm sure I've heard him mention it in a podcast before. And I mark turret like target 1, target 2, target 3, and then an alcohol wipe just takes it all off. It's all done, but it won't come off in the rain. So I've been using them for probably more than a year now, probably a year or so. And I have them on both my scopes. I've got 2 Attackers at the moment. But I'm in conversations with Nightforce at the moment about swapping one of those to an NX8, purely not because I fancy a downgrade, because it's still a great scope, but it will qualify for production class in the PRS. And PRS UK has announced that they're going to align their production rules with PRS USA, because it's obviously an opportunity now. I don't know if you guys know, but PRS UK has been awarded pro match status, I think they call it. So that means that if you guys in the US come across to a UK match and you shoot here, your points count towards the finale, etc. Now, for us, that's both amazing because it attracts, higher level shooters or shooters from the US that are doing a lot more than us, but also it's got us all quietly shitting ourselves as well.
Yeah, I've talked about it with the last couple of people, and I think it's really cool. I'm not going to make it this year, but we're trying to make plans for 2025 over there, and it's badass. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think Ryan Charlton said it best. He said to me before that a rising tide raises all ships, and I think that's very true. It's not we can't be constantly thinking. Obviously, we have our own, what would you call it, our own little world over here in Europe and in the UK, because travel is very easy for us between those countries in comparison. But I think I'm really looking forward to things being mixed up a little bit, and it's going to be very exciting. So yeah, sorry, going back to the production class rules, that was really important for us, for PRS UK, to align with the production class for you guys. So they've adopted the $3,000 limit and the 2,500 for an optic.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And obviously we're not paying in dollars, but we have to look at the retail price in the US, because 99.9% of stuff that we're going to be looking to buy is also available in the US. So if it comes under the RRP required in the US as it's being sold in the US, then it qualifies over here no matter what we've paid for it. Because obviously you could import a rifle, and you could easily pay double for it over here than what you guys are paying in dollars. I mean, powder wise, a tub of N150 is probably 115, 120 pounds right now. And obviously, I think a pound's still worth. So what is it? £1 like 80 cents? No, the other way around. Yeah, $1 to 80 pence. So you guys are winning both ways on powder and components. Trust me.
That's yeah, that's expensive.
It hurts.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So
at least you get a good deal on powder, Loz.
Yeah. Because I go to C2 Precision. Yeah, I also get a good deal on Nightforce from the Sportsman Gun Centre in Exeter. The #1 shop for all your Nightforce needs.
Okay, and so who all is on the MPA UK team right now?
Just
is it
me and
just
Lawrence.
you two? Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to try to join the team or something like that, how can they go? What do they need to do to I guess apply for the team?
Well, firstly, it'd be speak to me. Phil has pretty much given me free rein to run the team. But I thought about this very long and hard starting the team. Starting off for the year, it was a business decision, as well as what I really wanted to do to progress my shooting. I felt I would up my game going to a Masterpiece Arms, as well as a business decision to try and promote Masterpiece Arms, being the distributor, as well as improve my own game. Lawrence, complete no-brainer. Factory world champion, getting behind a decent factory gun. Well, the best factory rifle. Going forwards, I wanted to stick with what I have done in the last 3 years. I know it's a bit of a contradiction because I've just swapped brands, but brand loyalty.
Right.
A few things that are important in a team member is that you're good for the community. You're a good good, friendly, outgoing, professional sportsman. You've got brand loyalty. You're not just going to swap and change between the next horse that comes along and gives you a good ride. And you're gonna stick to using what you believe in.
Right.
So it sounds a bit contradictory because we've just started it. Lawrence wasn't using one and I wasn't using one, but there's good reasons behind both me and Lawrence now using Masterpiece Arms. So believe it or not, we've actually had 3 or 4 people approach Masterpiece Arms direct. For whatever reason, one, they might not have been a good fit, or two, yeah, no worries. Let's talk a little bit. What are you currently using? They're not even using Masterpiece Arms. So going forwards, with the amount of publicity and pushing the brand in the UK, within hopefully the next 6 months to a year, a lot more people are going to be using Masterpiece Arms. So firstly, then that becomes their opportunity to then approach, if they feel they're a good fit, to approach me. And Masterpiece Arms, me and Phil will have a chat about it and go down the route of, would they be a good fit for the team? First box, are they using Masterpiece Arms? Because if they're not, jog on. And with as being as polite as I can, you need to have brand loyalty and believe in the product you're using.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully as time progresses, we'll see a lot more people shooting Masterpiece Arms in the UK, and a lot of those people that would be good fits. Me and Loz have already got our eyes on a couple that we've discussed that. After a few matches, we've had a beer and thought we're going to keep our eye on that one. And so people don't really have to approach us. We're going to approach people that we feel that would be a good fit. But by all means, if you've been shooting a Masterpiece Arms for a year or two, you feel you're a good fit to represent Masterpiece Arms, just get in touch, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a note worth people tucking in their back pocket. You know, y'all, you say, we'll approach you. We're already watching certain people. I think it's just something to keep in mind. People are always watching you. Whether it's for a sponsorship or just, as a friend or something, maybe just don't be a prick if you're out in public, because you never know. I mean, I've met so many people, from being in these matches and competing, and it's amazing the relationships that you can make, whether it's a sponsorship, a business, or a friendship. The relationships that grow out of this sport is tremendous. And so
I think also talking about the relationships in a way, Phil, I mean, obviously Team MPA UK is Phil and Josh's baby. Like, I'm a team member, but I don't pretend to be involved in the big decisions. But I'm there on the sideline, and it's listening to Phil's feedback and sharing that with Josh about like when we have talked about potential other team members, etc., and people that have approached them or approached us or whatever, and we've chatted about it. Some of the feedback that he had and the insight, obviously Phil's been doing this for a really long time. And he, not only is it time spent, but he's been at the center of this sport in the development of products, gear, even him as a competitive shooter and Team MPA. I mean, you've only got to look at their team photo and realize how many medals there are between them. I mean, I think they list all the wins on their website, don't they? And that list takes some scrolling down. Like
it's pretty remarkable. When they publish that list every time, I mean, it's insane.
And so to get his advice on little things that we wouldn't have necessarily, because we're obviously in the UK, we're in its infancy of PRS. Really, we're growing, and thanks to in part to you guys, like the fact that we're able to pick up so much content from the US, like Miles to Matches, your podcast, like Morgan's YouTube channels, like the PRS is now putting out great content as well.
Right.
Really helps accelerate everything. But being able to have a hotline to Phil to pick up some tips and advice on this stuff is really, I think that's been really invaluable as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, and so we've mentioned it a few times, but so Josh, you own C2 Precision, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and so you are importing MPA products and along with a mess of other things. For the MPA launch, what all did you bring in?
For the what, for our team stuff, or do you mean for the sponsorship of the first match, or what means what did we bring in?
Well, so what did C2 bring in to the store? Like what's available? Like, so for people that are listening to us that want to get involved or want to pick up an MPA product in the UK, what can they get from you?
Got ya. By all means, anyone can order anything. There's so many different options, colors, as we discussed about colors.
Yeah.
Anodizing, it's like going to buy a set of jeans. You can buy one model and there's 17 different variations of that one model. So keeping a stock amount of what people exactly want is quite hard.
Right.
So at the start, I ordered 16 chassis. 10 of those are already pre-sold, and by the time they'd landed, the other 6 had already sold.
Okay.
They were just a mix of BA comps, inaccuracy international inlets. They were Tikkas, they were Matrix, a couple ESRs. There was 4 Matrix Pros. There was a really big selection of different things. And as time goes on, you start to see the trend of what people want. So what I'm trying to do now is keep a basic line of the products,
right,
of the most popular colors, or what would be a very good suitable color that even if someone wanted a really funky one, they would be happy with a tungsten, or
right,
they'd be happy with a copper or a burnt bronze or something like that. So I'm trying to build the stock up as we go. So there's 2 or 3 different options of every chassis that's, well, not every chassis that's available, because they do quite a lot now. But I'm keeping stock of the Matrix Pros, the Matrix. I'm finding that the ESRs are actually more popular than the BA comps.
okay.
Not many people are that familiar especially in the UK, of what the ESR is. And it's basically the same as a BA comp, but a longer forend.
Yeah.
So I find it's a more suitable forend for a comp. You can get more room for weights. It's just a little bit bigger, but
Yeah.
it's the same sort of footprint as a BA comp. So to be honest, I'm just going to stock more of the ESRs. CZs, the CZ457 inlets, they're quite popular for the rimfire guys, and the Remy 700 inlets for all of them cover your Rim X's, your Voodoos, your Bagaras, so that's not a problem. Accessories are building up and up and up. Each order we do, we're adding more accessories each time. If I went completely balls deep, I'd be into $100,000 check and just say send everything over. But you know, it doesn't work like that. So each order we do, we're adding more stock to each order. So it's going forwards like that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I figure, I mean, they have such a complete line of stuff. But I just and I don't know what the laws are and are over there. Can you sell outside of the UK for the rest of Europe, or is it UK?
No, I'd have to have a export license to
Okay.
sell out, but then I think there's complications with when you export stuff from the States, its end location is the UK. So if you are then caught sending that outside of the UK when its end destination was the UK, I might be wrong, but it's a massive minefield. If you get caught doing something you shouldn't quite be doing, next time I come to a finale, I'm off in an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah,
So
exporting,
I'm very
importing
careful on.
firearms illegally may have a bad
Yeah.
outcome.
So, but
Yeah, that's
there
I
are
didn't. So
contacts.
okay, so if you're in the UK, Josh will have you covered.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. UK and Ireland.
okay, okay, UK and Ireland. Um, and for a
And maybe
plug,
France if I go to Disneyland.
it's a plug for yourself. So what all does C2 offer?
When I started, I pretty much went for a bit of a selection of every generic gun shop, a few shotguns, few standard hunting rifles, big selection of air rifles. For the first 6 months to a year, I was finding my foot on what my market was going to be. I knew I was in the spotlight being in this industry, so I sort of tried to focus on the precision rifle side of things. But as you know, it's a very expensive sport, and if you try to throw all of your money into that, you're only going to end up with 5 actions, 5 chassis, and a few scopes. Do you know what I mean? So I've
Oh,
as I've
trust me,
gone,
I
I've
understand.
yeah, it's a tricky industry to be in, but I think for how much, and Lawrence can probably vouch for this, how much I've grown in just 2 years, we've extended the shop by 50%. We've had to extend out to the other side, so the other side is now full precision rifle area with all your chassis. We've got multiple brands in there, but and I've sort of found my footprint on where I am now and what I want to push. And a lot of the basic hunting rifles, standard firearms, shotguns are just starting to dip away. And now I'm finding my shop has got massive selection of masterpiece arms. It's got barrels coming out of our ears. We've got 2 or 3 different models of actions. We've got alpha brass to the ceiling, so to speak. We've got stacks and stacks of alpha. That
That's
again as well. Tom at Alpha has been really good in setting me up with Alpha. So we've got as many of the different calibers that we were most popular to begin with, and now we're pushing through and we're getting some BRAs. We're getting more BR. I originally started just ordering the classic Dasher, 6 Creed, and 6.5, but now we're starting to expand a lot more. We're getting pallets of the stuff now. So pretty much, if you in the UK, if you've got a slot on your ticket, you've got say a 6 Dasher or 6.5 Creed, you can call me up within 2 weeks. I'll have a barrel and an action sent to the gunsmith. It'll be back. You can walk in a few weeks later. Obviously, there's holdups and different timelines, and whether the smith can get you in, and whether the proof house, whether they've got a massive MOD shipment of 1,500 rifles to test first. But generically, proof house and gunsmith in is 2 to 3 weeks. You can come along with your ticket, pick what chassis you want, what action you want, what barrel you want, what optic you want, and you can walk out with the top line open rifle straight away.
perfect. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I want the people listening to be able to learn something as well for their performance as far as shooting precision rifle goes. And so y'all are both, I mean, we've talked about it, y'all are both exceptional shooters. What what is your training regimen look like? Are there certain drills that you do or certain standards that you try to hold your equipment to, or walk us through what got you to this level and what you are continuing to do to improve?
Okay. I think if I could I'll just jump in before Josh, because I think he's got roughly twice the experience in this sport that I have, maybe a little bit more than that. But for me, a lot of what I brought from the competitive clay pigeon shooting side, from the sporting clay side, was the mental game, really. I think that's why I had success early on, when actually in comparative to the guys I was competing with, my skill level was actually lower. I think I was able to hold my own because I worked really hard on my mental game in a different sport, basically. And although it's a different sport, it's still a target sport. And I've tried to maintain that, although it's very easy to get sidelined with the amount of prep that goes into a match, a PRS match. I mean, obviously, if you're not lucky enough to be able to get Mike's ammo all the time, that you have to load your own. I mean, I really get in the habit now. I know everybody says the fresh ammo is the best ammo, or whatever the Instagram motto is.
That's my hashtag for when I've procrastinated the shit out of my week and I have to leave tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've all been there, and I will be there again. But personally, I find it makes a big difference if I get everything. What's the way of saying it? Everything done, like sorted, 100% sealed, bagged, done, zipped up, out the door. Like, even if I'm laying all my stuff out in the truck, aside from, in the UK, we have to keep stuff locked up, like ammunition and rifles. So aside from stuff like that, even if it's in the vehicle ready to go, I've gone through my checklist of everything I'm going to take to the match. It's loaded and ready to go. Ammo, I've got done at least a week before. Like, that whole week, the evenings I can spend chilling, like just chilling out, planning where we're going to eat, that sort of thing, because we don't want to just rely on having a McDonald's. Or if you're at the PRS finale, you're up too early for a McDonald's anyway. As much as I was looking forward to American McDonald's, I can tell you to see the difference. I think that sort of prep for me, I've got quite a busy mind, so that really helps to get me in a good place before the competition. So that's one thing I would say, is never underestimate the importance of prep. And even if you think, oh, I've got 3 weeks to a competition, I've got loads of time, even packing your kit bag can actually make a significant difference to your mindset in the lead up to a competition.
That's solid advice, I think. One that I will have to try, because I have never accomplished that.
You provide the ammo, Mike. I'll provide the mental advice.
Yeah, it's honestly, that I think I never would have thought of that. That's it. I mean, it makes total sense, but I can't tell you how many times we all have life going on, or whatever the case is, and then all of a sudden it's Thursday, and you got 300 rounds of ammo to load. Your shit's spread out everywhere, and it makes for a very hectic start to what is already a very demanding weekend. So very solid. Josh?
For me, I think Loz hit the nail on the head. Be ready, but 9 times out of 10, what makes me and Loz very good shooting partners, training partners, whatever you want to call it, we often, if we're going into a field the week before, we talk about it more than we actually do it. We plan it more often than not, but never actually get around to doing it. But if we can, and we've got the time, the week or the prior week leading up to a match, we'll have 100 rounds or so of training ammo. And we'll go out and just do 1-shot drills, 2-shot drills, and constantly give each other feedback. Like, we'll have a 6-inch popper at 400 meters in the field, and 400-500 meters. We haven't done it much recently because of the weather and the winter, but out in the summer, we'll try and do it once or twice a month. And we'll constantly keep giving each other well, the shooter will give the spotter feedback, that went right edge, or that hit the plate right edge, missed off the left. And we'll constantly keep giving each other feedback. So we know on every shot, we know what we've done. That's in training. I don't really know anything specific that we do anything else in training, Loz, really. We sometimes
I want
analyze
to
our
give away.
speed. Yeah, not that I want to give away, but just if you've got
It's
a
very
shooting buddy,
competitive in the UK.
yeah, if you've got a shooting buddy, that's something that's very good to do to analyze your own performance and how much you can spot your shots and stuff. I think the other thing that gives us an edge that we're very lucky for, this isn't giving anything away, Loz. Don't worry. We go out before the match on like a Friday. If we're set to leave for the Friday afternoon, we'll go out and just stick 20 rounds down, check our zero, and then we'll go out to 850 meters, smash the target a few times, check our dope, and then we're getting on the road, happy as Larry that we've had a clean barrel, we've fouled our barrel in, we've checked our dope, checked our velocity, trued our kestrel. What else do you need to
Right.
start a good match? Like you're off to the races already, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people that just rock up to a match, and one, maybe they're not as lucky as us, they haven't got the environment to go and do that, which is completely understandable because we take it for granted. But some people they turn up and they don't even know their velocity, like at all. Oh, the box says it's 2,710. Oh, do you know what I mean? And as much as you want to just grab hold of them and say, look, go and do this, like go and actually try it. And you're wasting 200 quid of a match and 200 quid in hotels and 100 quid in fuel to come and guess where your rounds are going. Like
Yeah.
for me and Lawrence, going and doing all that is just a peace of mind thing. We get on the road. All we got to do then is cuddle our rounds in bed and wake up with them and go send them at steel. It's that's all we got to do.
Okay. That's okay. That's so, and I want just to back up a little bit. So the drills that you were talking about. So the one shot and two shot drills, I'm assuming like, have you seen the video that Morgan put out about like doing his one shot drills? Is
Yeah,
that what you're doing?
pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes it depends how the
So
day goes, really. 9 times out of 10, if I'm honest, we just wing it. We just go and do whatever we feel we want to improve on. And
okay.
that's,
Josh is a bit more of a winger than I am.
yeah, Loz is very much an analytical person. And I'm just,
That's how I
as long
am.
as I'm happy shooting, I'm happy analyzing, and I feel comfortable, I'm just going to go do my thing.
Okay.
I think that's
Well,
where we're
okay,
super
so
lucky.
huh?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think that's where we're super lucky is like training buddies, really, because like Josh brings the experienced, chilled side, and like I bring the sort of analytical,
Focused.
logical, sort of let's break everything down, let's look at the building blocks, let's do it this way, and then we'll do that. And Josh has got a lot more feel, so I think I can take a lot from what he does, and he can take a lot from what I do, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And so one thing so not a lot of people, I don't, well, and I don't think a whole lot of people do this, but what you said I think was very interesting. Do on that one shot or those two shots you're taking, having a spotter watching, and then the shooter calling out where that hit. Is that right? I understand that
Yeah.
correctly? And then does
Yeah.
the spotter confirm whether or not they were correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's honestly I think that's brilliant. Um, there's shooting positional and some other things like it takes practice to get some of the nuances down and stuff like that. But in reality, you can get that stuff down fairly quickly as far as building a position and being completely solid. I think reading impacts on a plate or being able to read some of the nuances in a miss is much trickier and takes a lot of rounds downrange to be able to understand them. But
That's all it is exposure.
right, but it's also one of the most important things. I mean, being able to tell if you hit dead nuts in the middle or you're a tenth one way or the other can make a huge difference.
I'm gonna call you on that one if you don't mind me. If you've got a grey plate, like
Like it shot up.
Yeah, like on a leaderboard, I do fairly well, but I am not good enough to tell you on a grey plate whether that's hit a 10th left or whether it's hit a 10th right. Like I may be calling myself out here for not being as good as what I think I am, but it's if that makes no, that doesn't make sense. But do you know what I mean? I cannot do it. I have
Well,
tried and I have tried.
okay, so you may okay. I don't think everybody can see every shot. It's not going to happen. But I do
Yeah,
think I think whether you realize it or not, you have to know to some extent.
yeah,
So like okay, for example, say you hit your shot and you were a 10th left. You may not know I am exactly a 10th left, but I know I hit pretty center and I think I saw that plate wobble to the left a little
yeah. I'd agree with you on that. Yeah, yeah, I would.
bit. And so
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Like you may not see that exact shot placement on that plate, but you are able to put together enough context clues of everything else that's going on, whether it be a plate rock, the spall, how that spall goes across the plate, or whatever, or if you can actually see it. There's being able to put all of that together to make a deduction on where it went.
I think you guys are well. You definitely are. You've got a lot more exposure to a lot more different ranges. Here in the UK, we've only really got one or two locations that we actually shoot matches at.
Okay.
So we get to see the same thing day in, day out on the same targets day in, day out. So having all those different ranges and locations and different target locations, different sun environmentals of where the sun comes up and where it sets and how it puts light onto targets and loads of so many different environmental things that come with different ranges, you get more exposure again. You get to see how different plates rock on different hangers, on different belts. We don't get that. So that may be why I might be thinking to myself, I'm not quite as advanced as I'd like to be because we don't get that exposure in seeing all that.
Okay.
Maybe,
Also,
maybe.
talking about environmentals as well, I think that's a really good point. That obviously, I know it's a bit of a touchy subject, but trace, whichever way, whatever you want to call it, it gets talked about a lot in the US content that we listen to and we watch, and it's talked about.
I so want to hear what you're about to say.
And yeah, it's when we came to the finale this year, I saw more during that match than I've seen in my shooting life combined. Like it's, and I'm not saying that the environmentals are always like that, but I do think sometimes the warmth, the wide open spaces, maybe a combination of humidity. I mean, maybe because we're not shooting as far, because I mean, Stickle down at Bisley is 900 yards, not meters. Pro shoot in Wales is 575 meters maximum. And that's where the two places that most of the matches are at the moment. Aside from Josh's venue on Exmoor, which this time due to conditions was out to 500, I think.
Yeah.
But we can go out to 800 meters or more. But we're not regularly shooting out to 1200 meters like you guys. Or that's the impression we get anyway. So maybe that's the big difference. Maybe it is environmentals.
And
I'm
so
not
are
saying
you saying
it. I'm
are you
not
saying
saying
you saw more while you were shooting or while you were spotting or
both. Yeah,
Okay.
both. I mean, spotting, I think anybody can pick it up spotting. As long as you're behind the shooter, you've got good glass.
Right.
Even with average glass, you've got half a chance of picking it up.
Okay, so you're mainly talking about why you were on the gun during a
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've seen trace or a bullet in flight in the UK. And like I saw it at least 15 or 20 times during the 200 rounds of the PRS match. Which
I think the vast majority of times it's where the sun is. Remember when we went to Loz, when we went to France, Loz, No, Italy. Sorry, get me bloody countries confused.
That's
And we were
true.
down the bottom. There was that one. I think it was an IPSC down the right hand side of that range. Through there, I think it was tank traps we were on, and it was 500 meters. The sun was just in the right place, and I come off that to Loz and said to Loz, "Holy shit! I just followed every bullet into that target. I could tell you whether that was one occasion. I could tell you whether it was a tenth left." Like
Yeah.
I could genuinely see it go woo, bump, and I was like, "How have I never done that?" And that made me like, it was a solid position. You can build solid positions anywhere. I've done it millions of times, but I did not see it as much as I did that. And that was just the sun in the right spot, the
Yeah.
right time of day. So I think it is just genuinely environmentals.
I agree. I think I do. Well, so I think environmentals play a big part into how easy it is to see, and then whether or not your eye is trained to look for it, or you're looking for it. Um, I think it's talked about a lot, and again, like you get on Facebook or forums or listen to it seems like you're you're a really good shooter when you can see trace all the time. Or, I shot this stage and I saw my trace. That is exactly where it went. And I don't personally buy into that. I think trace is a good tool that you can use combined with everything, but I don't think I never watch trace ever. Uh
I never watch for it, but I do see it sometimes. But
yes.
if I do see it, I won't concentrate on it. Because as Morgan said, it's the wake. It's the wake of your boat. I want to
Yes.
see what happens on that target or wherever that little V of mud flicks up. I want to see that. I don't want to be watching that when it does that.
Yes, I think Morgan's description of the weight behind the boat is a perfect correlation to what's going on. But it's just you still see some people like, oh well, I'm really working on trying to watch Trace, or compare like, oh, I watched Trace all the way in. It hit, and it didn't. I don't know. I just think it's interesting, and everyone has their own take on it. And some people are really, really good at seeing it. I'm not. I mean, I don't watch for it, but
I
uh,
think equipment as well. Equipment's a big one. I mean,
oh yeah,
like you pick yourself up a factory ATX with the 24-inch barrel, not the 26 in 6.5 Creed, and you throw some 153s out there and you try and spot anything. Like, I'm not sure if that's a throwdown or not, but like, yeah, you try and spot anything because it's taken me ages to figure out how to do that. Like, and that's just see the plate still moving by the time you've recovered from the recoil, let alone everything else. But then, like you say in Italy, Josh, like that was a straight barrel 6.5 with every weight it could possibly go on a chassis, and it was in an MPA Matrix Pro, with a decent brake. I don't recall what brake it was, but it was a decent one. I think it was a APA, the Fat Bastard. And
I wasn't referring to when we shot his. It was during the stages down near the rooftop. It was to the left or to the right of where that diamond circle was. It was the one at the back, and I think it was tank traps we were on. But yeah, no, that was my rifle. But yeah, equipment is the same.
For me,
if you've got...
for me, it only happened with his because it had every weight under the sun. Like that thing was like well over what you would consider reasonable PRS weight, but it was an absolute joy. Like I was, like you say, I was watching Splash better than I'd ever seen it. I was watching bits of Trace. Like it's so again, if you're running a 25-pound dasher. That's how we say it over here. Anybody when people reference it, then I'm sure you've got way better chance than somebody who's running a 15-pound 6.5.
right.
So yeah, it's very personal as well. It comes down to your equipment, and obviously, standard barrel contours aren't really a thing for you guys in the sense that they're out there, they're branded like the Proof competition, like the MTU or whatever. But if you say you Smith, spin me a straight, then that's what he's going to do. Like, whereas before, like this year, pre this year in the UK, your riflesmith would say that you have had an accident and your head has been hit pretty hard. Like there's
On the straight.
really try and talk you out of that.
Well, and so I actually I had a conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago that he's a very good shooter, and he's primarily hunted, and he's a very proficient hunter in a lot of different ways, and he started he shot a couple like regional PRS matches, and he's kind of wanting to get into it a little bit, and we were talking about setups, and that's one thing. It is a sport, and like it is a game. And the one thing I will say is, like, if you're gonna do this game, do the game. Like, don't if the only gun you have is your 12-pound 6.5 in your closet, come out and shoot. But if you're gonna get competitive and be serious about it, do the game. There's a reason we all run 20+ pound rifles with, blah blah blah. There's a reason. Just do it. Don't it just, I don't know. But I see it a lot, like, oh well, I don't know. And I think a big part of it comes to budget, and like I understand, like we all have fixed budgets, but like now you can get a $3,000 production rifle and not have to worry about it either. So
Yeah, I
and
agree
that's
on if you're going to do it, do it. I've had multiple customers come to me now, and I wouldn't say that they've not got a budget, but they just say, well, you've been doing this long enough, build me what you use. And
yeah.
That's it. That's all they need to know, is that someone else is there that owns a shop that can provide that, but is actively participating in the sport and at a high level. They just say, it's obviously good enough, just build me what you use. And right. It's great that they just give you that faith that you can just go and choose what you want out your shop to go and build for them.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Okay, so last thing I got, so y'all are both planning on coming to the World Championship match in September, correct?
Not planning to, no. We are.
Okay. I was like,
whoa. Your face then, Mike, your face.
Okay. What are your plans to prepare for that match between now and then? We were talking about being prepared. I mean, have you set out certain goals, or is it still too far out? But what are your goals? What are you are you changing up anything? What's the
Don't
plan?
tell him, Loz.
Don't tell me.
Which bit should I not tell him?
I feel like you guys are hiding something from this.
No, it's I think it's probably more the case of, it's always a bit of foreplay, isn't it? It's a bit of fun. But I think I tried to travel as much as I could afford to last year, which has absolutely resulted in absolutely no spare funds right now. But yeah, I took a lot from normalizing the travel, not necessarily traveling as far as the US. Obviously, I did for the PRS finale, but the other matches I shot were in Europe, and I'm really glad that I did. The matches in Europe as a whole have come on so far, especially I'll give a shout out to the Italians. Davide Picenti has done a remarkable job with DLR, which I believe he's now taken on PRS Italy as well. And he's working with Runa Johnson, who's I want to say he's the international director globally, but specifically director of PRS Europe as well. And yeah, I haven't got enough good things to say about both of them. I just can't say enough good things about them. They are heading in the right direction. Runa has got all the experience in the world. But anyway, sorry, that's a segue. So yeah, getting used to travel with the guns, getting used to the stress of the airport, getting used to regulations for ammunition, visas, for you guys, the ATF forms, and just the differences between countries. You'd be amazed how many people that puts off. It probably would have put me off before if I hadn't already done it with a shotgun. With the sporting clays, I travelled quite a bit for that. Again, into Europe and to Dubai once as well. So I had a good breadth of experience with that. So I think, I mean, I'm quite happy to say that I will be coming to the US this year, other than the World Championship.
Awesome.
That I'm really buzzing for. And I think, although I can't afford to do it as much as I'd really like to come over and spend a few weeks, do a couple of matches. I think it's going to have to be a one and go. But I still think there's a lot for us to learn. And like you say, normalizing. Like I said, that I'm really big on preparation. So if I can go before, even going to the finale this year, the fact that we flew into Denver in Colorado, like sussing out where security is, where we're likely to get the guns from, who we need to talk to. Like, that was a great advantage, being able to do that in advance, because we're all aware of the stresses that can happen in an airport, and I've heard of plenty of people losing guns permanently. So it's, yeah, maybe that happens more in the shotgun world, but it does happen. And it's all of our greatest fear, because in PRS, like, we're very attached to our equipment, aren't we? It's it's not just a gun. Like, that's Bessie. Like, she's my special one.
Well, it's been a lot of fun getting to know you guys, and it was awesome getting to meet y'all here. I'm glad y'all are coming back. And I told Lawrence, but if I can ever help, like if y'all need anything when y'all come over here, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm in the middle of nowhere, Texas, for the most part, but happy to help if I can. Okay, so to kind of wrap up a little bit, I apologize, I forgot to tell y'all before this started, but y'all get to nominate someone to be on the show next. So
on the spot.
Yes, putting you on the spot a little bit. Who would y'all like to nominate? It can be a competitor, a manufacturer, a business owner, someone that's doing something cool in our sport.
Masterpiece Arms.
Phil?
Get Phil on the podcast.
All right. I will do it. That's honestly kind of who I was hoping you would say.
Sorry, Phil.
I mean, you didn't send me a note of what I'm supposed to say.
No, I'll reach out to Phil. I think that will be a very good one. Like you said, he's just a wealth of knowledge, so that should be a lot of fun. Anything that y'all would like to leave the listeners with before we wrap up?
I'm going to make another suggestion just to make sure you've got enough work to do this week. And that's going to be Joseph Sixt, who's affectionately known as Seppo.
I will tell you, it's already been done, recorded, and
there you go.
Yay!
I think that episode will go live in a couple weeks, and it's a good one. That guy is unbelievable. His history and his the way he breaks things. I thought it was a very good episode. He's awesome.
He's got some very aspirational goals, and I think I've never spoken to anybody and heard goals like that and thought to myself immediately, yeah, he can do that. Like, his mindset is rock solid in every way. Everything he's done in his life leading up to it really, I think, gives him a really solid footing. And obviously there's the fact that he's a pretty good guy as well. I tell him to his face, but he's a bloody good man.
I know.
The dedication he's put into it is insane.
Yeah, I think he's going to be here. It's like 9 or 10 weeks or something like that next year or this year. I mean, it's.
Oh, he's coming over for 9 or 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Total.
Yeah. Well, he did a last year, didn't he?
I think he was over here for like 3 weeks last year. And I think if I remember right, I think he said he's coming over for. I want to say it's like 6 weeks or something like that the first time, and then he's going to come back again around the championship for a few weeks.
Wow, I know they're planning to come to quite a few of the UK matches, so we'll keep our eye on him, Loz. See what trips he gets up to.
Yeah, well, there's well, it'll be enjoyable anyway. They enjoy their beer, the Germans, so
for sure. Well, guys, I sincerely appreciate it. And for those listening, so if you would like to support Masterpiece Arms, go pick up one of the chassis or one of these awesome new production rifles. If you are in the UK or Ireland, hit up C2 Precision. Josh will get you squared away. If you're here in the States, you can reach out to yours truly. I'll try and get you taken care of. Guys, thank you. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a true joy getting to meet you guys and the whole international crew. So I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it. And can I also say, just to anybody, European, UK, whatever, if you're over this side and you don't have an MPA or Mike to reach out to nearby, then please reach out to us, because even if it's for silly questions, like we're already helping people who are asking us silly questions. So your questions aren't going to be that silly. Anything at all to do with the sport, just please reach out and drop us a line on Instagram or Facebook. We're more than happy to help. We really want to encourage people into the sport, so that's the way we're going to do it.
Absolutely.
What's your Instagram,
honestly, if you get a ton of questions, I'd be open to doing another one of these, and we can just run through listener questions or and help break down, like, just run through a bunch of different stuff. So let me know if you get enough. Be more than happy to do it. So
yeah, that would be cool.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks again. I truly appreciate it, and we'll chat soon. Okay.
Nice
Thank
one.
you, Mike. Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks for your opportunity.
All right. See ya.